Hey guys, I promised you the Intel summary today. I'm making a lot of progress on my taxes, and I did a live stream about taxes. If you want to see that, you got to be a member. So anyways, so here it goes. These are the articles I looked at this morning in detail on my live stream. No timestamps because I was busy today. Oil drops as Trump pauses Iran energy strikes for 10 days. They're giving them a break for 10 days, so that's making oil drop, which is good. There was an article, foreign workers exit Iraq's Basra refinery project amid regional conflicts, and that's not why they left. They left because they finished their work. But, you can read through the lines in some of these articles. The next article was gold rebounds on weaker dollar despite weekly losses. It's kind of funny. I told you the hilarity of it. And then the digital dinar is 135. It was 135 this morning. It was 133 yesterday. That's the digital dinar. You don't really have to understand it, guys, because when you go to your bank to cash in your dinar, your dong, or whatever, if you have the Zim bonds, I think you can just go to a bank to do it, just like the centers are saying you bring them there. The banks are going to accept them when the bank accepts them. So if you use my 3 steps, you'll be safe. So the Kuwaiti dinar is one Kuwaiti dinar equals 325 US dollars, $3.25. But this is not live yet. Maybe it'll go live at 5. If it does, maybe I'll be reporting that from the truck on the way to our concert. Now, if you look at Dinar Guru, I like to look at their summaries because it's the easiest for me. Mark Z, after today's live stream, he said, is this Iran situation holding RV things up? He said this, and I feel the same way. He goes, I look at it as the Iran situation is accelerating the RV and getting us off stuck and getting rid of all the excuses that were keeping them from moving forward. Fun Lou, she can be a little negative, but I'm going to read it anyway. It said the reason for the purchase of the U.S. bonds from 23.4 billion to 40.8 billion is because they are going to institute the use of stablecoins, which are backed by U.S. Treasury bonds and the USD. This makes them stable, always worth $1, guaranteed and globally convertible. Iraq is not going to get rid of their dinar currency. The folding money will be used in country for commerce. Iraq will use the cryptocurrency to affect cross-border payments. It will also be vitally necessary for the long-awaited RV. When she mentions the stablecoins, she's talking about the digital dinar that I report on every day what the value is. That's the one that's running their new banking system. So she could have a point, because in order to back your stable coins, it says right there on Handle Forex what they're backed by. They're backed by cash and cash equivalents. If Iraq is choosing to do that by using the long-term bonds, that's exactly what's happening with a lot of the cryptos or stable coins that are being pushed out by these banks. So they're all backing it by using the bonds, the U.S. Treasury bonds, and that is helping prop up the dollar. So, I'll be live tomorrow morning too. It says, let's see, what did she say? She said, it'll already, other than cross-border payments, it will also be vitally necessary for the long-awaited RV. This is a big part of why there will be no RV this year and perhaps half of next year. That's what she thinks, but I think it could go anytime. Sandy Ingram, Zimbabwe has done a magnificent thing. They have come away from a 3-digit inflation to a currency that is now worth 0.03 cents to 1 Zimbabwe dollar. If you were holding $1 million IQD and the currency went to 3 cents, you would be looking at a profit of $30,000. I know that's not what many of you have been looking for. You were looking for much more, but let's try to stay real and stay close to reality. 3 cents is a good place to start. And I think it's neat that Zimbabwe is doing that, because that gives us all hope, those of us who are holding Zimbabwe bonds, of which I am one. Frank 26, we are seeking security and stability in an environment in which they can raise the value of the Iraqi dinar currency. It's as simple as that. How's that going? In his opinion, they're ahead of schedule. I think they're still secure and stable, as evidenced by our military moved out of there last September, because my military contacts were exclusively in Iraq until September, and they moved to a very dangerous area where we've lost a few of them, so we keep praying for their families to heal. Mountain Goat article, Anbar Alliance, Trump is planning a new roadmap for the occupation of Iraq. Quote, President Trump is planning to draw up a new roadmap with Iraq in isolation from its external environment, giving America special control over its destiny and tightening its grip on the country's wealth. We can now see there is going to be a day of reckoning for Iraq. For these past 20 years of corruption with Iran, the truth is now coming out, and I suspect we will see much more of this kind of amazing changes for Iraq. I firmly believe it is the Trump administration that is going to get us the reinstatement. We all just need to relax and watch it play out. The key now is Iran. Pay attention to Iran. What do you think? Comment down below. I love to hear your comments. And Bruce, via Wiser now, he said today was looking like a good time to be notified. I've always thought it would happen over a weekend. What do you think? I'm going to keep an eye on it. It says once we receive the 800 numbers, we set our appointments and then we start exchanges. Friday, Saturday is looking very good. I feel very confident about this going based on what we are hearing from sources. And I'm feeling very confident that I should get this done so the decks will be clear for this week. So what do you think? Comment down below. And then Sandy Ingram, I found out about the IQD from a U.S. military soldier who had a letter in his file from Condoleezza Rice, which was at the time the Secretary of State. She goes, that letter encouraged the U.S. military personnel to invest in Iraq. So I really did believe the IQD had a very good chance of revaluing into a higher amount. Now, after many years of holding the Iraqi RD and nothing happening, remember Kim Clement said nothing, 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 and then suddenly something. We've been in that nothing, nothing phase for quite a while. Also, if you want to say the year you got it, don't say how much you have, but just say the year how long you've been in this. I've been in this since June of 2012. I'll never forget when God told me, Dinar. After somebody explained it to me and I wasn't listening, I just, I was laying out in the sun and God said Dinar. So then I just started doing my research and decided to invest in it. So I've been in it since June of 2012. What about you? Let's see. She goes, I'm come to the conclusion that you're not only... Am I not silly? It was a wise decision. We learned currency is not based on speculation. It's based on economic fundamentals like production, stability, and money supply. What do you think, guys? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And Jeff said most of the news is suggesting the rate change will probably take place within the month of April, which we're right on the cusp of that. I think it starts Tuesday. It's going to depend on the timing, how far they have to go into the government formation. Do they get Sudani in there and complete the formation quickly? That's what we have to see after the war is done. Claire is talking about passing the oil and gas law. When is that going to happen with other things? But I prefer Militiaman's summary. He says this war in the Strait of Hormuz drama is almost like a push. Thankfully, something happened to create an environment that pushes Iraq to wean itself off of complete reliance on oil and non-oil resources. 16 trillion of natural resources, export self-sufficiency. There are clear signs. And then there was a post that Steve did, which I really liked, about comparing it to Bitcoin. Everybody thought Bitcoin was crazy, but Bitcoin, if you had what did he say? I think this is where he said that. He goes, this does not mean, this is Steve. He said, he was talking about the bonds yesterday, I guess, like everybody else was talking about the bonds. It says it does not mean they're 100% planning on revaluing the currency, but sometimes you have to read between the lines and look more of a preparation tactic. They are preparing to do something. Iraq is positioning themselves to not just be able to back up their currency, but possibly back their currency at a much higher rate with a lot, which than a lot of us anticipated. I've always stuck with the feeling that it could be around 1-to-1. But I also believe that maybe if they did a reinstatement to their old currency value of 378 when Saddam was in control, only time will tell. But this is extremely, extremely exciting to see everything that's happening. So if you're excited to see this, please comment down below. Like I said, I'm going to a concert, so I won't be available tonight. But I did get back to most of your emails before I started getting into my taxes. And I'm praying for you. I hope you're praying for me. And I'll see you tomorrow morning on the live. Bye.